filed as early as July 2014 by Bundal, Enciso, and Vera, ordered the conduct of preliminary investigation and administrative adjudication for malversation, violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and the Government Procurement Reform Act, as well as for grave misconduct, serious dishonesty, and conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service in connection with the car park building in Makati City. On Monday, the Ombudsman directed all the respondents to file their respective counter-affidavits within 10 days from receipt thereof. Acting on the prayer by the special panel of investigators, Ombudsman Morales approved the order preventively suspending Mayor Binay Jr. and 20 others. Ombudsman Morales also directed the Secretary of Interior and Local Government to immediately implement this preventive suspension order. Records show that the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government received the order yesterday at around 10 o'clock in the morning. The DILG exercises general supervision over local governments. Likewise ordered preventively suspended our former City Administrator Marjorie De Vera, City Legal Officer Pio Kenneth Dasal, City Budget Officer Lorenza Amores, former Central Planning Management Office Chief Virginia Hernandez, former City Engineer Mario Badillo, former City Accountant Leonila Quirejero, former Acting City Accountant Reyes Pestaño, City Accountant Cecilio Lim III, Acting City Accountant Eleno Mendoza, City Treasurer Nelia Barlis, CPMO Engineers Arnel Cadangan, Emerito Magat, and Connie Consulta, CPMO Chief Lime de la Peña, Bids and Awards Committee Secretariat Heads Giovanni Condes and Manolito Oyaco, Technical Working Group Chairman Rodel Naive, BAC Member Ulysses Orienza, General Services Division OIC Gerardo San Gabriel, and GSD Staff Member Norman Flores. Republic Act Number 6770 or the Ombudsman Act of 1989 provides that the Ombudsman or his deputy may preventively suspend any officer or employee under his authority pending an investigation if in his judgment the evidence of guilt is strong and the charge against such officer or employee involves dishonesty, oppression, grave misconduct, or neglect in the performance of duty. The charges would warrant removal from the service, or the respondent's continued stay in office may prejudice the case filed against him. The complaint is in connection with the several alleged irregularities in the procurement and award of the contract for the design architectural services to Mana Architecture and Interior Design Company and the award of the 5 contracts for the construction of the Makati City Hall parking building to Hillmarks Construction Corporation. The office is now ready to answer a few questions.
So we will now entertain questions from the press. Peter Tabingo.
Good afternoon.
May statement ng city government kahapon na the resolution was passed on.
As I mentioned earlier, the complaints against Binay et al. Were filed as early as July 2014. And I think the period of 8 months is reasonable time. And no way can one state that the period of 8 months implies undue haste on the part of the Office of the Ombudsman. And the original charge of the complainants, Bondal, Enciso, and Vera, were, among others, for the crime of plunder. And as the complaint was filed by special panel of investigators, they filed complaints for malversation, falsification, and violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and the Government Procurement Reform Act. and the other administrative charges. No? So I can't think of any undue haste in a period of 8 months since July 2014.
Mr. Adrian Ayalin of ABS-CBN.
Sir, may information na nandito na si Mayor Binay and sabi ko yung discretion the Ombudsman. Of this, ano yung pwede maging effective of suspension? Should this be the order or request?
Yeah, in the absence of any temporary restraining order issued by the Court of Appeals, the order for preventive suspension should forthwith be implemented. No, so, since there is none, the DILG should implement the preventive suspension order of the Ombudsman.
Medyo mabagal yung DILG implementation. Sabi niyo, yesterday, office, pero may parang yata yung na-arrange. Pero ba yung normal process or medyo mabagal?
I think the question should be addressed to the DILG on the matter of mobilization and the referral of the DILG Central Office to the NCR, DILG, and all those internal matters.
Siguro the question is, are you satisfied with the way they are handling that?
Well, the Ombudsman gave the Secretary 5 days within which to report the compliance. And the 5 days is not yet over, so we shall await the compliance report of the Secretary of the DILG.
Thank you. Ms. Fiona Nicolas of 9 News, 9 TV.
Good afternoon. Well, a public officer preventively suspended upon receipt of the order for preventive suspension, no, may comply with the legitimate order of the Ombudsman and voluntarily or temporarily leave office. No? The DILG would have to come in if there are acts that would impede the implementation of the preventive suspension order. No? So it is within the power of the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government to execute by all means the preventive suspension order of the Ombudsman in the absence of any TRO. Yeah, it should not.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Jill Resantok, DWIZ.
Defiance of the mayor, punishment, pag-ibig pa rin po.
The defiance of the valid order of the Ombudsman, well, would have to be. We'll await the report first of the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government. No, so if the respondents would readily concede, no, to the or obey the order, then there would be no problem. No. So if in the instance that the Secretary of Interior and Local Government reports, no, after all efforts done within the power of the department to obey the suspension order, and then that's the time that the other powers of the Ombudsman will have to come in, like the contempt powers and all that.
Mr. TJ Yap, Inquirer.
Well, the Ombudsman has the power to cite a person in contempt if it disobeys, an order of the Ombudsman. This power can be exercised under the rules of court by filing the appropriate petition in court. No? And there are other reliefs that can be had through the petition, no? Which may involve even the arrest of the person. No? So, but I don't think that would. There are other means, no, beyond going through that contempt power. No, the Office of the Ombudsman may immediately direct other law enforcement agencies or even the DILG, no, can utilize other law enforcement agencies in enforcing the preventive suspension order. No, so I think the respondents, we'd like to believe, no, and hope that the respondents would obey the rule of law if in their avowals, no, of public service, no, if they're indeed for public service, then first they have to abide by the rule of law. Well, right now I cannot recall historically, no, the names, the cases that there were cases that preventive suspension orders issued by the ombudsman were not complied with, no. But those are the those are the those are the several manners, no, by which an order of preventive suspension could be implemented.
Ms. Buena Bernal of Rappler.
Well, I can think of any, so I think you should ask that to the respondents. No? Well, we will have to comment on that when the Court of Appeals directs us to comment. No? But the alleged offenses were committed in those years that meaning prior to 20 prior to the re-election, no, scheduled re-election, no? So they would have to raise that in the proper petition as to the counting of the periods.
TJ Yap.
Yeah, Vice President Binay was not pleaded in the administrative case, no. So he cannot be the subject of a preventive suspension order, which, as I mentioned a while ago, may be ordered if the charges are for misconduct, serious dishonesty, and other administrative offenses warranting removal from service. So since Vice President Binay is not pleaded in the administrative case, it follows that he cannot be the subject of a preventive suspension order.
Peter Tabingo.
Sir, the video complaint was for plunder, but on the complaint filed by the Special Investigation Panel was for malversation, drugs, and other cases. Does that mean that plunder is now out of the question, or is there some point in the future that the Ombudsman will review and upgrade the charges?
Yeah, the special panel of investigators looked into the alleged irregularities in the process and in the requirements of procurement and the award of the contracts. And upon their assessment of the evidence gathered thus far, they can find any case for plunder. But that does not foreclose the possibility of other evidence coming out later that would point to a possible offense of plunder.
Buena Bernal.
Sir, I'll just go back to the first question because the allegation of an expedited suspension implies that they were saying that there's an unseen hand behind the ombudsman. So what's your comment?
The ombudsman goes by the evidence. The ombudsman followed the proper procedure and found that all requirements and grounds for preventive suspension are present, no? And the ombudsman followed that procedure in the same way that the preventive suspension of General Alan Purisima was carried out a few months earlier, no? In the case of the Huerfas case. No, upon the filing of the complaint against General Purisima, with the prayer of suspension order, the order of preventive suspension order came out. So it's the same procedure, they are the same requirements. So the office assessed the evidence and found that the preventive suspension order is in order, no, in this proper case, as it were in the Purisima case. So I don't see any difference or deviation from any procedure in terms of time period or even in the presence of the requirements, no. So the sauce for the goose is the same sauce for the gander in this case. So
Mr. Resonto?
well, it will have to, as provided by the rules of court, no? So it does not directly cite a person in contempt, but it can ask the court on a proper petition to cite a person in contempt.
You have a follow-up question, Buena? Buena Bernal?
Sir, you said it follows regular procedure even if there's time periods. The 8 months, how does that compare with other cases or complaints that are special investigators?
Well, at any time, no, upon the filing of the complaint, a preventive suspension order may be issued if those requirements, as mentioned a while ago, are present, no. So the formal complaint here was filed by the special panel of investigators, and with the gathered evidence that they have presented, merited the issuance of a preventive suspension order. No, so upon the filing at any time, no, from the filing of the complaint, the ombudsman may issue a preventive suspension order. So there is no period such as within 10 days from filing or within 30 days for filing.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mark Jason Cayabyab of Inquirer?
Sir, Mayor Binay mentioned that some of the members of the special panel lawyers or operators
Well, the office vouches, no, for the competence, integrity, and professionalism of the investigators, no, who come from different offices within the office of the ombudsman, no? And as I said, Ombudsman Morales goes by the evidence and reviews all resolutions, orders, decisions submitted by the ombudsman investigators and prosecutors, no. So there's no truth to that.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Rambo Labay? Question?
Meron pa kayong apila kay Mayor Binay? Hindi sinusunod ang ombudsman at inasampung ganyan. Meron pa kayong apila kay Binay?
Well, like any other citizen, I think all Filipinos should abide by the rule of law. So I think that's the...
Sir, nabanggit nyo na 8 buwan yung pinag-aralan yung investigasyon. Eh, bakit hindi bang mga kaso nauna pa?
Well, the fact, it would depend on the gathering of evidence, no? There are cases under fact-finding investigation that may readily provide for the sourcing of evidence, documentary evidence, witnesses, and all that, no? Take the case of the other high-profile cases, no, like Pidafen Fertilizer Fund. I think it took them really several months because they need to go to different provinces. So it depends on the complexity of the case, and as well as the nature of the offense and the number of respondents. In this case, there are numerous respondents impleaded. No? So one by one, you need to relate their participation.
Are you seeing, sir, na mas mabigat kayo sa mga malampaya case na lalula na dito sa mga kaso ng ombudsman? At marami pa mga case na ombudsman na natabunan na nauna pa, I think, October pa yata na.
I think the Malampaya investigation is ahead than this one because it's already pending preliminary investigation, while this one, in the case of Binay, has just started the preliminary investigation. So it's ahead than
Thank
this
you.
Binay case.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Trish Roca of TV5.
Sir, ano po yung gagawin niyo sa mga official, na former officials na ng Makati? Paano sila masasaktan?
Former city officials, as it turned out, are now officials of various government offices. No, like a former city official might be a public university official right now, and may still be is still covered by the preventive suspension order. So regardless of the public position that former city official occupying, no, he may be preventively suspended in that current government position.
Mr. Ayalin. What did Mayor Binay mention? I don't think he mentioned any names of any members of the special panel of investigators. I don't recall that the names being mentioned.
Pero yung connected with Maro, is it accurate na connected or were you connected with Maro?
Sir, you want to repeat that again?
Accurate po ba yun na more really connected with Secretary Maro as yung mga special
Well, Simeon Marcelo is no longer connected with the office of the Ombudsman. No? And I think from the news reports, I think there were no mention of particular names. So we cannot really point, or we cannot really answer that without any specific or direct allegation of what that connection is and how would that affect the case. No? Because some seasoned investigators came here even before Ombudsman Marcelo became Ombudsman, and others came after the tenure of Ombudsman Marcelo. So that's it. Yeah, as I mentioned a while ago, the office, no, vouches for the integrity, competence, and professionalism of these seasoned investigators. No, so the ombudsman goes by the evidence. So the respondents are expected to answer the charges based on whatever evidence or defense that they may claim. No, so regardless of external insinuations that they may have, and I think they have all the remedies if they really have proofs of this so-called connection. No, they are guided by their lawyers, so they know what to do if they have proof of these connections.
Sir, kindly mention your name and the station.
Ang inyong napapanood ay ang bahagi ng press conference ng Office of the Ombudsman kaugnay ng pagpapasuspindi nila kay Makati City Mayor Binay. Ipinunto ni Assistant Ombudsman Asirin Rafanan na walang undue haste sa pagsususpindi sa alkalde. Katunayan, Hulyo noong nakaraang taon pa raw inihain ang reklamo laban kay Binay at ilang opisyal ng Makati kaugnay ng overpriced umanong pagpapatayo ng Makati City Hall Building 2.
Ayon kay Rafanan, sapat na ang 8 buwan para sagutin ng mga akusado ang mga reklamo laban sa kanila. Binigyan din ng Ombudsman na may legal na kapangyarihan itong magsuspinde ng mga nirereklamong opisyal ng gobyerno kung may sapat namang ebidensya laban sa kanila. Kung hindi raw maglalabas ng temporary restraining order ang Court of Appeals laban sa suspension order, ipatutupad daw ng DILG ang kanilang utos na iserve ito kay Mayor Binay.